In this video, I'll be showing you how to draw bark in a few easy steps coming up. What's up, YouTube? I'm John here, and thank you for watching my video. And I just someone made a request of me to do a video for drawing tree bark. I had done one previously for drawing grass as well, so you can watch that one too if you like. I wasn't given any specifics for what type of bark, so I just thought I'd just use a generic tree bark here. So I'm just drawing in my shapes now, so you can just sort of follow along, and I'm just going to ramble along in the background, so you can even mute me out if you like to. I don't care. So I'm just drawing some random shapes here right now. You kind of see that. Remember that the trees have this cylindrical shape to it, so like as around the corners where it bends around the tree trunk. So just have your lines closer together there. So here I'm just darkening my lines up, and darkening on the left side of each piece of bark, just to say, okay, the light is coming from the right, and then in each piece of bark, I just go very, very lightly in with the ink pen, just to give it some texture there. It does require a little bit of patience, because it can be a little bit tedious if you decide to go this level of detail. Just, like I said, the trees is cylindrical, so to give it that three-dimensional look, have each your individual bark pieces be narrower around the sides of the tree, and wider in towards the center of the tree trunk, just to give it that 3D look. It makes it a little more realistic as well. The video is slightly sped up, just because I like to keep my tutorials underneath 15 minutes if I can. So anyways, yeah, like I actually don't do artwork for a living. I'm actually an architectural designer. Really, this is just a hobby. I've had this YouTube channel for quite some time, but I've never really pursued it very much. So it's just recently that I've been trying to make it a little more professional. So bear with me. It's still a learning curve, just to have my videos a little more professional, and my audio, and just excuse me there. So anyways, yeah, just remember, I'm new to this YouTube thing. So hopefully my videos and my commentary will get better with time as I go along. And I'm not the most vocal person, so it's a bit of an Achilles heel for me is teaching verbally. So I'm more of a visual person, really. I mean, I would kind of like to just have my videos just run and maybe have some music playing in the background and not really say anything really, and just let it go that way. But I did look at some tutorials on for YouTube videos for art tutorials, and they all say to have, you know, some sort of commentary in the background is preferred. So hopefully I'm not turning people off by my voice, or that I don't sound professional or anything like that. So I hope my artistic ability is adequate and makes up for that lack of audio teaching ability there. So so you kind of just got to watch my video and maybe just ignore me. So just adding a little tree branch here on the side there. Yeah, I have a bit of a cold this morning. I don't know why. I always seem to get it in the morning. So yeah, okay, so on to tree number 2 here. So I just do some pencil lines just to give an idea of the direction of the bark, and just do some little curved lines there just to remind myself that it's cylindrical, just to sort of follow that three-dimensional pattern as close as possible. You want to keep that in mind. So like you'll see that my lines are closer together around the sides, and they begin to widen out and towards the center of the trunk. That is very important to give it that three-dimensional look. So I was out this morning taking a check at the chickens, and everything seemed fine, and then I saw the 2 roosters start jumping at each other and didn't think anything of it. And then my daughter came in the house and told me that one of them was covered in blood. So I went out there, and it looks like the head rooster just got demoted. So he had a bloody little gash on his head, on his little crown, and so I took him to the side and washed his wound out in the laundry tub, and my daughter stuck a band-aid on top of his head. So so we got the other rooster, who's a lot bigger, in a pen by himself right now. He's a bit of a bully. He's always been picking on the other small chickens and working his way up. So I guess he decided to go after the big one, the head rooster, and looks like he won. So so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. I kind of want to get rid of him. Like I said, he's a bit of a bully chicken. So. So I did just putting a little knot in the tree here, just to add a little bit of a variety, and put in some shading. I don't really do hatching. I just sort of like treat the ink pen almost like I draw with the ink pen the same way you would with a pencil. I kind of prefer it. It looks more natural than crisscross hatching, I think, personally. I think crisscross hatching is good for like a comic book, but not if you're trying to go for realism. Just avoid that crisscross hatching there. So just like, again, treat your ink pen like a pencil. And you don't need any expensive ink pens. I just use the Sharpie fine point ink pens. I get them at the dollar store actually. The ones I get are actually non-bleeding, so they won't bleed through the paper if you're using thin paper, but I'm using fairly thin watercolor paper here actually. I usually do for my tutorials, but for my actual artwork drawings, I use the more expensive watercolor paper. Let me just grab it. I can't remember the name of it here. Yeah, the Strathmore watercolor 400 series is what I usually use. So now tree number 3 here, what I'm doing is I'm showing areas where the bark is peeled off. So I'm actually just drawing in the wood grain very, very lightly. It's probably hard to see, but you just go back and forth and just try to imitate the grain of a tree. Like the pen, I'm not even applying any weight to it actually. I'm just letting the weight of the pen itself do the line work. So you don't have to use watercolor paper for doing your drawings. You can use whatever paper you want, Bristol, Strathmore, or poster, or whatever you want to do, whichever paper. I just prefer the watercolor paper. Just like the look, the texture of it. I just think it looks very nice with the ink drawings personally. A lot of other people prefer it too. So now I'm just going over it I'm just doing the bark areas now. Same thing. I have my outer perimeters of each little piece of bark darkened, and I just lightly texture the inside there, and I go a little bit dark where the bark meets the exposed wood. Just give it a bit of a separation, division, and just for shading shadow as well. This can be a little bit tricky here, where the small branch meets the big branch, just where the bark curves. It can be a little bit challenging to make it look right. So you kind of just gotta almost shut your brain down and just let your hand do the work almost. And you don't think about it too much. That's why I kind of just draw on some lines to give my general direction for the bark before I start drawing in the bark, just so I'm not stopping and thinking about it too much, because if you do that, then it's going to look very artificial. It's not going to look it's going to look too technical, not real. So hopefully you can see it okay. My hand is not blocking it. I probably should have started from the right, did that one first, and then worked over to the left. That way you can kind of look at the other two while I'm doing this third one. So I'll try to remind myself to do that in my other YouTube videos, just when I draw, to work from the right over to the left, being that I'm left-handed, right? So if I was right-handed, then I'd go from the left to the right. That way I'm not blocking out anything that you may be looking at. So that's all the bark. I'm just going back over it and darkening some areas, putting the shadow. So just any areas I feel that would have shadow on it, or any dark areas I might want to exemplify a bit, I'll darken up a bit. So that's it, really. It's not that difficult. I'll maybe try to do some birch bark and some palm trees as well. Some tutorials for that. But thank you for watching my video, and please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Some suggestions for any other tutorials that maybe you would like to see, and I'll do that for you. Thank you very much, and God bless.